Idiots ready?
Eat your dinner.
Where's my tweet? There it is.
It's been condensed. Sorry.
All right. It's shared with y'all for easy access. It's shared in the pod network. Oh, no. This is an active night. We have one viewer already. JMic, I'm going to get this show started. Adjust this mic. Get it all perfect to the position I like. You know how that goes, or maybe you don't. I'm not sure. Here we are, live on the Fake Pigskin Open Bar. We're back to what's it been like 2 weeks. We're here every Tuesday, or some call it Booze Day, depends on the intro. And 9:30 Eastern. I don't know. Is there anything else to say, JMic, or could we wrap up the show?
Well, the Christmas tree came down. For those of you that can view on YouTube, you can actually just see my creepy curtain in the background. This is actually part of the collection, straight from Quantum Tim's Martha's Jailhouse collection. So
are those steel curtains?
So no, it's more of like a sheer lacy kind of deal. It's kind of sensual but hard at the same time. So
that's
it's like
you entirely.
Yeah, it's like the Shania Twain, like, man, I feel like a woman, like that.
Okay.
Are those My Little Pony streamers behind your head too?
Yeah, it is. Oh, it's so crazy.
Those are dope.
Yeah. So my oldest had a birthday party here at the house for her other kindergarten friends last weekend, and I haven't taken them down. So yeah, I've got a Rainbow Dash and Applejack over my shoulder. So shout out to the My Little Pony crew if you get down with that, or for all the dads out there. Bobby's smiling. He seems like he probably likes My Little Pony.
Clearly.
And he doesn't have kids, so you have no excuse.
Yeah, you caught me. I just watched My Little Pony all day long.
As he ducks down so you can't see what's on his shirt.
It's a Yankees t-shirt. Actually, you caught me on the back. There's a My Little Pony. I'm sorry.
Know how I know you don't watch My Little Pony? Because you call him My Little's Pony. That's a whole nother creepy thing. My Little's Pony. Whoa, what? What are you watching?
I got to turn on My Little Pony, and I'm going to sit back, drink this whiskey. The Little Pony.
Yeah. Don't know what to tell you guys. I don't have kids yet, so I laugh at kid stuff, I guess.
I can dig it, man. You're all right with me, Bobby.
Well, JMic, we may as well introduce our guests at this point. Bobby.
Bring them out. Bring them out. Bring them out. Bring them out.
It's hard to yell when ponies are in your mouth.
Swizzy.
So I came on the show thinking I couldn't possibly embarrass myself more for my Dynasty Game Night appearance. I'm off to a great start, guys.
Yes.
My little
100.
Par for the course, Bobby.
Yeah. This is great. Other podcasts are going to be like, oh, we can have him on, but not as an expert, just as the guy to make fun of.
Everyone's got that guy, man. Well, free plug there for the Dynasty Game Night. Pricer and John Bosch, that's their fun game show, with usually related to ADP of sorts or statistics, but so fun to listen to. So check that out. Maybe not the one with Bobby if you're feeling like.
Oh, and shout out to those guys because they just came out with and this is free plug for them. So shout out to Price, shout out to Bosch, good dudes. They actually have a brand new T-shirt. If you check out John Bosch's Twitter on the tweet machine, they've actually got T-shirts for sale. So check that out. What is? Oh yeah, at Empire FFL. So check that out. They've got T-shirts for sale. Dynasty Game Night for 20 bones.
If you pay 10, they'll also put another My Little Pony on there for you. Or sorry, an additional 10 on top of the 20.
JMic, are we sponsored by Dynasty Game Night now?
Apparently we'll have to be at this point. Bosch is loaded. He can totally sponsor us.
All right, Derek D, bro. What's up, my whiskey connoisseur of a friend?
What's going on, dude? Yeah, so we were talking about cocktails for tonight. I just kind of broke down. All of that went sideways. I went back to the regular shot glass and bottle. So what can I say? I'm a simple guy.
Wait, so you don't have any lemonade of sorts?
It's in the room, but I made it and I decided it tastes like straight up butt, and so yeah, I'm not rolling with that.
Wow, I'm kind of bummed. I mean,
it's in the cup. I can't say I'm going to drink it, but
okay.
How's your lemonade smell like butt though?
it doesn't smell like it. It's just the taste.
When life gives you lemons.
Even worse. What do you put? What's in your lemonade? It's got to taste like butt though.
That's what happens when you buy the Kroger brand. What can I say?
Hard to yell when a butt's in your mouth.
Cheap life.
It's hard to yell.
Freshly squeezed.
No, stop.
Hey, you wanted more details, JMic. I didn't go into it. It was all you, man.
Keep the details, partner. I'm good. I'm good. Thank you. I'm done. I don't need to know anymore.
All right. fellow league mate of mine in a cup, well, one currently and one in the past. We'll talk about that a little bit, actually. Matt 3, what up, dude?
What up, man? Thanks for having me on. JMic hit me up a couple times, and it's kind of falling apart, but I'm happy to be here. I'm just a guy, so don't go looking for my advice. You know, I follow more people than follow me on Twitter, so you know I'm just a guy. I don't write for anybody like these guys on the other side. So I'm just a guy, just here to have some fun.
It's the independent contractor, hired gun.
The Dynasty Butcher, man.
Hey, not a bad acronym, TBH, the JAG. I think we're going to make that a thing now. Just a guy is no longer actually just a guy. It is a jag.
I'm the first jag.
Sigh. Happy to have you three. You're all meeting for the first time. Bobby, you kind of mentioned in the chat, you know, he loves to come on to open, but he's such a sweetheart, Bobby. You come on into the chat and you're like, you know what I love about the open bar, guys?
I'm never being nice again. That's my lesson. It's just never be nice. Never make public appearances. I'm done.
You know what I love about the open bar, guys, is that you get 2-3 new people every single week. I don't know how you do it, but I just love talking with new people every week. It's a real splendid, super time.
Well, golly gee willikers, Gabe. I can't believe you intonated me so well.
It's pretty spot on. I can't actually tell without the video who was talking.
I know, right?
You gotta hide it. You gotta hide it. No, you're correct. All jokes aside, I was starting to think about that when you said it. We really try to bring a new crew on every time we come on, and it's new, it's fresh, and it's fun. It really is. It feels like a bar. It feels like we're bringing together the bar, so it's good. Happy to have you guys.
I'm happy to be here, even though I said I'm never being nice again.
I'll second Bobby on that, except I'll try to be nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bobby, how about you just make up your mind, Bobby? Dang it, Bobby. Make up your mind.
No, I keep wanting to say that, JMic, but I'm refraining.
I felt like it was too soon. I didn't want to go there.
It's just high school all over again. I'm the butt of the joke. It's fine.
Would you rather us call you Bobby or your actual first name?
Bobby. So fun fact, Bobby was supposed to be my legal name.
But
so my dad left the room to get a snack, and he came back, and he went, "You wrote Bobby on the birth certificate, right?" My mom went, "Well, the nurse said typically they call them Robert." My dad was pissed because I'm supposed to be named after Bob Dylan, Bobby Mercer, and Bobby Kennedy.
Which all three were named Robert.
Yeah, but he specifically wanted me to be Bobby.
His dad went down with that. He wasn't down with the fanciness of that.
Yeah, no Roberts allowed in this house.
I've been a disappointment to my father ever since.
Sadness.
Welcome to the
Jeez,
open
I should
bar.
I should just log off now.
Just log off. Yes.
Fellas, did anything happen this week?
Ooh.
What's going on in the NFL these days?
Justin Timberlake concert was off the chain.
Yeah.
I didn't
Great
get to go
dancer.
live.
Great
Yeah, man, that was a good one. Other than that, not much, you know.
Perfect. I guess we can wrap that up then. Anyone else have any hot takes?
So the Eagles actually did it. They did it.
Yeah.
What few what few thought they could. Just quick thoughts real fast, because I know you guys are probably tired of it. Quick thoughts on the Super Bowl, putting a bow on the season. Not everyone at once.
I was trying to be nice. I thought Bobby was going to jump in there first. I mean,
Bobby's the nice one, okay?
No, but yeah,
I know.
let Bobby be nice. You do you, Derek.
oh man. All right, well, fine. I'll lead off then, since everybody's clamoring for the first spot here. Golly, man, what do they do with Nick Foles? It's crazy, man. He played out of his mind. You want to say like, okay, well, Nick Foles just kind of like backed into a win, but that dude he looked legit. Does Nick Foles stay there? What do y'all think?
Somebody's got to pay him, right? Everyone gets paid like the biggest contract in the NFL following a Super Bowl MVP. It seems like there's always a contract. Flacco,
He's still under contract. I had this huge discussion the other day, actually, after the Super Bowl with Scott Fish and Leo and some other guys who got involved. Basically, my take was they're going to trade him because the Eagles are $9.2 million over the cap for next year. I don't know if you guys knew that.
Yeah.
So they might need to clear some salary. But their point was this is a guy who almost retired and seems very comfortable there, so he might choose to stay there. Personally, I think, if a team comes along, let's say the Arizona Cardinals, and goes, hey, we'll give you a second or a third for this guy to be our bridge QB. If you're the Eagles and you're not replacing Wentz, you go, all right, yeah, take him.
Yeah, I think you're right. There's going to be a market for him, but you got 3 quarterbacks out of Minnesota going their own ways. You got a couple hot rookies coming up. You got Kirk Cousins still on the board. There's a lot of meat on the bone. I mean, last year he would have been in much better shape, I think. There's a lot of competition this year, which is kind of weird. Usually that's like free agent quarterbacks on the periphery of most of the dynasty community, unless you're talking super flex. But it seems like that's kind of the focal point of the entire offseason from my vantage point so far. A lot of that is connected with, where does Kirk Cousins go, and how does that affect the players that he's playing with at that time? Where does Nick Foles go? And like I said, but it's kind of crazy the environment we're in right now with quarterbacks.
So what I find interesting about this, according to Spot Track, I still don't know how to say it. Spot Track.
Spot rack.
Yeah. There you go.
Spot Rack. Fantastic. Thank you for that.
I'm just kidding. I had no idea.
I'm almost positive it is Spot Rack.
Oh, okay.
Spud track. Yeah.
I was going to say something else. It's not going to work.
No, same here.
So the Eagles do have an out if they wanted to from Foles, which I don't know why you would, but they do. They can get out. He's got 3 years left on the contract. The out after this year leaves him with about $1.8 million worth of dead cap. I think the better question is, do you hang on to him versus trade him, in the sense that, hey, what if Carson Wentz isn't ready to start next year? Is there any
he did tear it late in the season, so I mean, the turnaround seems to be quicker than ever with an ACL, but that's totally fair. And I mean, really, just like the backup QB is just so essential anymore. I mean, I've said this on our pod before, but it's just like, why not keep him around and be like, I don't think this money is really going to save the Eagles in the long run. Like it's a decent amount of cash, but like they're already like what, bottom 5 in money. So like trading Nick Foles is not going to save them. It might, start to save them, but not ultimately. So I think, why not keep him around and utilize that in the event that Wentz isn't ready, or just that he gets injured again, because it's totally possible. I mean, in this day and age.
Yeah, and you don't need a stronger argument for having a good backup quarterback than the fact that the Eagles won it all this year.
Yeah,
That's
right.
all you have to say is if they didn't have Foles, they wouldn't have won the Super Bowl. Because I think their other backup would be Sudfeld, however it's pronounced.
Excuse you. Don't just mispronounce the official QB of the open bar.
Oh,
Nate
excuse me.
Sudfeld,
I'm
that's
sorry.
our man.
Wait,
friend of the podcast.
when was the decision made that he was the official QB of the open bar? We didn't discuss
Named
that.
at least like 4 times. I mean, that's
No.
more than any other
No.
QB, I think.
No, we did not
is-
discuss that.
So he was, but real quick, was he a Patriot last year?
Sudfeld?
Yeah. Or was that the tight end Sudfeld? I can't remember.
Tight end. It was a tight
Okay.
end Sudfeld. It's either last year or 2 years ago.
All right. I'm just trying to make an excuse for him to be a back-to-back Super Bowl champion.
LeGarrette Blunt, man.
I know. He's the one.
Chris Long too.
Going back to back.
Yeah.
Yeah, both of them
So-
back-to-back titles.
My 2 cents on just the Super Bowl was that I think if you would have told, I mean, obviously you do this all day with like the Foles situation and losing Carson Wentz. If you would have told me this, if you would have told me that, but if you would have told me that they could have beat the Patriots and their defense not help at all, almost except for that one play, which I'm not taking that play away. That's nuts. Like it was just a back and forth all day. I would think if you're going to beat the Patriots, especially if you're going to do it with a man down, arguably the most important person on your team, and you're going to be able to do it on only 2 sides of the ball, special teams and offense, I wouldn't have believed that. But here we are. It's the world we live in, man.
Most yards in an NFL game ever. Not just playoffs, not just Super Bowls, NFL games ever.
Oh, for the combined yardage?
Yeah. Absolutely bonkers.
I mean, they kind of saved the NFL's butt because I think a lot of people were down on this year's matchup. And, I mean, halfway through the game when you're seeing it's a shootout, even if you weren't. I mean, everyone's watching it anyways. Who we kidding? But I know I was locked in the whole time.
People were down on the matchup because it's 2 of the, I think, most despised fan bases in the NFL. Not that I have anything against either of them, but
Yeah.
it was definitely a tough sell for the NFL.
Yeah. Well, the NFL doesn't need any help.
Yeah, that's true.
They'll be just fine.
Shout out to everyone in the chat already on YouTube. For those that may be listening to this in podcast form and don't know, we do this as a live YouTube show as well on Tuesday nights, 9:30 Eastern. And in the chat, Tyler Gee of F3 fame.
Who?
Yes, who Gee? Yes, Gee. Tyler Gee. He said Kenny Britt was so close to a Super Bowl title. Shout out to Kenny Britt.
He was close to being active too, but that didn't quite work out.
Right? Winless Browns get swooped in, gets taken by the Patriots, goes to the Super Bowl, doesn't play, won't be getting a ring. But I thought that was pretty funny.
Is it the Kenny Britt curse now instead of the Madden curse? Is that what we're saying?
Please.
Well, I think it's the TB12 curse. TB12, because last year Gronk was on the cover, right? They win the title.
Yeah.
This year, TB12's on the cover. He throws for 500 freaking yards, 3 touchdowns, and no interceptions, and loses the Super Bowl. Like, that's absurd. Oh, that's absurd.
Didn't have their first lead until the 4th quarter.
When
The
you just
only
know,
other comment I'll make, and I was talking about this earlier, so I'm sure you guys have heard all these rumors about Malcolm Butler and what he maybe did or didn't do. And one of the rumors is that he was caught with some weed in his room. So I said, I bet at some point Tom Brady went to Bill Belichick and was like, yo, man, I will smoke some weed right here on the sideline, so you will let my dude play because we need him on defense.
Yeah, no kidding, damn. Just weed, man. He's not smoking crack in his room or anything.
By the way, he categorically denies it. I'd like to point out in defense of Malcolm Butler.
All
So
right.
then what about the Patriots though? I mean, are they still just really good and gonna win more Super Bowls? Tom sticking around, coaches, et cetera, et cetera.
Is
There's a lot
this
of
the
moving
end?
parts there, man.
Is it though? Is it?
a lot of moving part. What Gronk came out and said he might retire. Hogan, I think, is a free agent. Deion Lewis is a free agent. I mean, I still think they'd be a good team, but there's more moving parts than I guess, on the surface at least.
I agree.
I think Gronk,
it could be. We could have hit the top of the mountain last year, and we might see the decline now. We'll see.
I mean, Matt Patricia has an amazing defense too, so he leaves, and extreme sarcasm there. So,
no kidding. I was gonna say he had an amazing defense for like 8 games, not including the Super Bowl. So.
I thought it was so funny. Like okay, so all the McDaniels news, like, did the Lions give no pause to? Okay, we're gonna name you our head coach, and you just gave up 41 points in the Super Bowl. Like, would anybody fault the Lions for being like, never mind?
Yeah, instead of McDaniels did the never mind move.
Patricia did have his 2. I'm not trying to defend him too much here, but he did have his 2 star players gone. Hightower wasn't playing really, and Butler was out for the game. So he's already put in a pretty tough position.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Anytime I keep hearing all this, like, this is the end of the dynasty. All I know is every single time I've doubted Tom Brady or Bill Belichick, they've just proven me wrong. Every single time. So I won't believe it's the end until one of them or both of them says that they're retired. And even then, I would be worried that one of them would pull Favre and be like, JK bitches, and I'm going to do this all over again.
Yeah, honestly, my least favorite team to talk about in regards to like now or the future, because they ain't going to tell you. And it's not like we know, So, I mean, they keep that under wraps more than anyone else. I think we're not going to know about Gronk until like September 1st, probably.
Hey, real quick before we jump off of Gronk, and this is an interesting point in the chat, Jake brings it up. If someone is semi freaking out about Gronk and his comments from after the game about retiring, what are you willing to give? What rookie pick in your dynasty league would you be willing to give to get Gronk?
Real quick, is that Jake Anderson or a different Jake?
Nope, same Jake Anderson at NFL Draft Talker, the hashtag honorary third person of this podcast. He's got the open bar Letterman jacket.
Speaker of the house.
Jake and I were talking about this earlier on Twitter because someone posted a poll where they were giving up Gronk and the 109 for the 102. And I talked about how that person was panic selling, right? Because picks can bust. And I mean, first of all, to give up Gronk for the 102, personally, I find ridiculous. To give up Gronk plus another first for the 102, what are you doing?
So what you're saying is, so you're not, so if you have Gronk, you wouldn't, that's not right. If you have Gronk, you're not selling for anything less than the 101. Is that what you're saying, Bobby?
If I have Gronk, I'm not panic selling him. So I'm trying to get value for him. I'm not going, okay, he's about to retire, so I'm going to cash out at whatever price I can.
Okay, so if you're buying, what pick are you giving to get Gronk? Right at this current moment, somebody's like, hey, somebody posts in your league right now, hey, I'm looking to move Gronk. I'm kind of scared he might be retiring.
If I had the 102 and they take it, I'd do it in a heartbeat.
Okay.
I think I'd do the 103.
I would do the 102. I'm really big on Geis. I mean, that's basically what the 102 is to me. So, especially if you have like young depth, like there's a few teams. I actually own Gronk in 2 dynasty leagues, and I have Kittle on one of them, and then like Jonnu Smith and a few other like younger. Like I have Rudolph and Jonnu Smith. I would sell Gronk for the 102.
The thing is, for me, is like Gronk represents so much more value than just the points he's capable of putting up and the points that he does put up each week. Like that positional advantage over your opponent each week is so crazy because you can find those other players to plug in matchup wise and things like that, but you just can't find. You just can't find tight ends anywhere that are reliable. I mean, who do we have? Ertz, Kelsey, Gronk. I mean, there's a few more that are aging
That's
out.
about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with Matt. Just to clarify, I'd be buying Gronk for the 102 and doing
Yeah.
that in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think, I don't think he's going to retire, first of all. But I mean, just that.
Yes, correct.
I think that when he comes back, whatever, that like if he's already said that he's even thinking about retirement, like that, I don't know, I'd be sweating already. And I would imagine even when he announces that he's coming back, that people are still going to be all over you and come at you with cheap offers just because of that narrative of like, well, he said it. So you got to tread lightly with that, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So more Patriots, JMic.
Yeah,
More
and looks
specifically,
like
our boy, what's his name? McDaniels. I don't even know.
McDeasy.
Josh McDaniels.
Josh
Never heard of
McDeasy.
him. Yeah,
Sheezy.
Josh McDaniels. He's the Colts / Patriots coach, I think, at this point. We have confirmed that he is no longer the head coach for the Indianapolis Colts, but the offensive coordinator for the New England Patriots. Here to talk about that.
Breaking news drop.
Here to talk about that. If you're in the YouTube live chat right now, you're like, what the hell is this sad sap?
Hey, that was a good drop. Okay,
Feeling like
maybe a little biased, but
so we've got the homie Kai here. He's been sitting in the background. I invited him in for a special guest appearance because he is a degenerate Colts fan, and I'm sure it looks as if he was very happy Daniel's coming to town, but that is no longer the case. So Kai, would you like to speak some words, or can we just kind of speak of what we think you will say by your facial gestures?
Hi. Give my best Ross from Friends. Hi.
We were on a break.
So this is obviously an abject disaster. There's no positives to take from this for anyone looking at it from any angle. For those that don't know, not only has McDaniels pulled out as the head coach, but they had, I think, 4 or 5 assistants already signed to contracts. And the Colts have put out a message saying that they still have jobs. So that's nice of them to do that. But now what head coaching candidate wants that job if they can't put together their own staff the way that they want? You go from the most surefire, most experienced, most qualified head coaching candidate of the offseason to probably the least qualified, least experienced guy is what you're going to get now. And so it's a disaster. There's no other, I don't know if there's legal ramifications. I don't know what verbal contracts, I don't know what kind of laws there are in the state of Indiana compared to other states. I don't, nothing like this has happened since Belichick wrote on a napkin and gave it to the Jets. Like, that's the last time anything was anywhere close to this. I'm speechless. There's not much I can do. I'm thinking about just leaving the team and rooting for a different team. I've rooted for this team. JMic can't handle it. If you guys are watching on YouTube,
he's losing it.
He's losing it. I've been a fan of this team for close to a dozen years, and this might be the end at this point. There's just from the way they handled Andrew Luck to all of Jim Irsay's ridiculous antics, and the man's not qualified to run a business, much less an NFL franchise. He puts up a statue of a man that just retired for another team while he's still alive. What are you doing, Jim Irsay? There's no rhyme or reason for anything. And so if you're one of these my question to you guys is, if you're one of these assistants, like Matt Eberflus, previously of the Cowboys, and I can't even say his name, Guglielmo, the offensive line coach, I can't say his name. Where is your headspace at? Because if you do stay, then it's probably a one and done contract, and you're going to get replaced next season by the guy that the head coach actually wants, and made into a scapegoat for when this crashes and burns this season, with or without Andrew Luck. Or do you try to go find a job elsewhere, most of which, if not all, are already taken up, even with some of the teams that turned over their staff, like Detroit and Arizona and Chicago and these other teams? What do you do if you're one of these assistants? Because that's whole families that have to move, and this affects so many things, from Saquon Barkley's value to Andrew Luck to all kinds of things. But that's my first question: is what the heck do you do if you're just an innocent bystander in this?
Bobby, before you take it, because it looks like you were chomping at the bit, the most interesting thing about what you were talking about, Kai, is the fact that they're reporting the guys who had signed on to be the coordinators for the Colts will still be the coordinators for the Colts, with or without Josh McDaniels. And in this case, it's going to be without Josh McDaniels. So these, so whoever takes the job can't even choose their own coordinators.
It makes no sense, but it's a lose-lose situation, because if you decide to let those guys go and let the new coach maybe pick those guys, maybe not, then you look like jerks because you have just fired some people, who you promised a job to. But if you keep them on, then that's going to decrease the quality of a head coach that you want. Maybe he's thinking, well, some more jobs will open up. Maybe Cleveland, maybe, New York, maybe some of these other jobs will open up next year, and I'll just grab one of those and build my staff the way that I want. So it's lose-lose for everyone involved. And the only person that I have to blame
Irsay
is Irsay. Or maybe you could blame McDaniels, but I think, and this is the last sort of take that I have as someone that has just followed this team and watched this team. There's been dysfunction the entire time, stemming from Irsay. This team is as well put together as the Cleveland Browns, minus two franchise quarterbacks and Bill Polian. Like that is the only difference between this team and the Browns since they moved to Indianapolis. So for everyone saying, oh, well, that's probably the reason why, or that doesn't make any sense, because what has changed about that in the last 24 hours? Nothing. The Colts were as dysfunctional last Wednesday and as they are this Tuesday. Like it doesn't make any sense why they would be why he would change his mind. The only thing that happened is they just lost the Super Bowl. That's the only difference between people expecting them to win Saturday, them losing Sunday, Monday having a day to think about it, and then today changing his mind. So the only thing that makes any possible sense to me is, and anything with Andrew Luck's injury, there's nothing that could have changed in the last 2 days. McDaniels knows everything today that he knew 2 or 3 days ago. So the only thing that changed is he got so close, and his offense played ridiculously well, the best that any Patriots offense has ever played in a Super Bowl, and close to best any Patriots offense has ever played in a game, period. And he still lost. So if his goal is to win Super Bowls and win championships and all these things that great coaches and great players want, then why would he leave a situation that's set up for him to take over that team in a couple of years and risk it all with a Colts team that has a history of being terrible without a franchise quarterback? Why would he ever leave New England if they still have all that perfection in place on offense, and Tom Brady and Belichick and all of that, and Kraft is an amazing owner, and all these things set up for him to succeed, and he still lost. Why would he ever leave that? And that's the only way I can rationalize what he was going through.
This is the saddest rant in
so
open
bad.
bar history.
It's just so defeating.
Are you okay, dude?
No. It's so defeating to like, and especially to look and see with Matt LaFleur and with Mike Vrabel, the Titans have some hope of changing up that coaching staff and getting Mariota right. Jacksonville obviously has their amazing defense. You guys have done well with that, and everything. And maybe Blake Bortles will get replaced. Maybe not. They were good enough to get to the AFC Championship with him.
You watch your mouth. You watch your mouth. That Blake Bortles
I
slander.
said the word maybe
Put a pony
because
in
I know
that
what
mouth,
show
Kai.
I'm on. I know what show I'm on, so I said maybe. So, and the Houston Texans obviously have found their franchise quarterback in Watson, and they still have plenty of studs on defense. They just need to add a little bit more talent to the offensive line, and they'll be Super Bowl contenders. So to look around at all of these teams that you have kind of had your way with for the last decade, pass you up in the last 3 years, it's so defeating. It's disheartening, and the Browns are the only team with less hope at this point.
So Kai, so you take a break. Can we to get a sip of water, do whatever you need to do? Can we offer Kai any hope for his Indianapolis Colts after this McDaniels debacle, or is he just screwed? Or should he just jump ship? Go ahead, 3. Go ahead.
All right, so I usually don't blame people for using the withdrawal method. Okay, I'll start by saying that. However, I do think whatever changed from earlier this afternoon, he's making phone calls trying to get his assistants and everything in line. Whatever changed from now until 2 or 3 hours ago, whatever the news broke, like, unless it was some kind of serious medical issue with Andrew Luck that's new information, which I highly doubt. Why would it come out just within that time frame? Unless it's that, I don't respect what happened in any way, because like you said, now you got some guy who's, to use the analogy of like the President of the United States, if he's going to come in and he doesn't even get to hire his own cabinet, you know what I mean? How's he going to get the job done the way he wants to get it done if he's inheriting a bunch of stepchildren, so to speak? People that don't have his vision necessarily, and those are his subordinates that have to fall in line. It's not fair to those people who signed up to work under McDaniels. Now they're like, who's my daddy? They don't even know who their daddy is now next year. So that's all I'm going to say. I don't know McDaniels. I don't know the situation. I'm just a guy on Twitter like anybody else. But from where I'm sitting, it seems pretty messed up how it went down. Sorry for the Colts. I'm not a Colts fan, so I don't really care in that regard. But I can see that it does suck, and I agree with that. Well, yeah, no, and I'm not saying it.
All I can do is nod, because everything you're saying makes sense and is accurate. I don't respect what he did at all. I think it's kind of cowardly, but he's a patriot, man. I mean, no offense to any Patriot fans out there, but that's a pretty patriot kind of move. I don't know. I probably should have said that, but it's like benching Malcolm Butler. Like it's just rude and disloyal.
They need to learn some manners, man. Let's face it.
Need to sit him down. Well, Kraft I was just reading that Kraft behind the scenes is like, I'm going to just destroy Indianapolis until the end of my days. Since Deflategate, and you'd imagine that he promised McDaniels like the head coaching job in a couple years or something.
He had to.
Whenever
Belichick
leaves, we'll give you the job. Don't worry.
Yeah.
So, all right, here's my few comments. I think there are a few questions in there. Number one that you asked us was, if I was an assistant, what would I do? Very first thing, send a bag of flaming dog shit to McDaniel's doorstep.
First and foremost.
Yeah. Sorry,
he called it shit poop.
I am a very
Don't pay me my business, devil woman.
Your word means something. I think it's because my grandpa was like, even though he was Jewish, he basically acted like a mafioso. So he'd be like, "You give me your word, and it means something to me." So if you break your word to people and say, "Hey, we're gonna go here, we're gonna do this together. This is my vision," and then suddenly you just back out, Josh McDaniels. No one else has been quite. We've been kind of tiptoeing around this. You're a piece of shit, Josh McDaniels. If you have a problem with me, you can come find. Secondly, if I was the assistant,
don't add Bobby. Don't add Bobby on that, Josh.
No. If I was
That's
the
a bit of a
assistant,
mic drop moment. I don't know if you can.
if I was the assistant, I would still do the job because you're right. There aren't going to be other jobs out there. And if I managed to take that job and somehow turn it not into a shit show, I'd bank on that. If it turned into a shit show, I'd go, listen, you saw what the fuck happened. Everyone saw what happened. So you literally get a free year, basically. If it's a shitty year, no one's going to blame you. If it's a great year, they're going to go, oh my God, this guy should be a head coach.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, anybody that walks into that and takes that head coaching position, I mean, don't you feel like you're kind of like, I don't know, the Jim Tom Sula episode where you just
no. I'm talking about
failure,
not the head
you're
coach.
set up for failure, man.
I'm still doing.
I thought from the beginning it was a weird marriage between Irsay and McDaniels. I thought like
between Irsay and anyone is going to be a weird marriage.
Well, unless they want to just do whatever Irsay wants, snort a few lines, go text. The funniest thing that I saw on Twitter was Andrew Hawkins was talking about. He went through a list of things that possibly happened. I don't know if y'all saw this or not. And number 3 was maybe Irsay save Josh's number as Stormy Daniels in his phone and texted him the wrong stuff. So I was like, oh man, drop. But
so bad.
It's so bad, but so good at the same time. But for me, I feel like the something happened in New England, and I think Josh McDaniels is so scared of going to another position and failing like he did in
Denver.
Absolutely. And so if he doesn't have a franchise quarterback, I don't think anything changed with Luck. This feels like behind the scenes, I think Josh, at least, and this is just, absolute theory, but McDaniels is going to be the successor to Coach Bill. But I think it's absolute crap. He pulls out at the last second. No, I don't think anything changed with Andrew Luck in this last 24 hours, 48, whatever. And it's messed up. It's absolutely messed up. But I would say that Josh is probably going to be the successor there. I think that he's scared of failing like he did with the Broncos. And because, he fails again, there's no other head coaching positions coming his way, period.
You don't get a third chance. If you get 2 failures, you don't get a third chance.
John Fox has something to say about that.
Yeah, John Fox would like to have a word.
Hold my beer.
So to make you feel better, he has failed at literally every stop except New England. Earlier I was just curious. I looked at all his points for totals, and when he's been with New England, he's always top 10. Whenever he's been without New England, he's in the bottom of the league. So I'm really just coming at Josh McDaniels. Josh McDaniels, you are a product of Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. You are not a good coach.
Okay, I agree with you, but to be fair about the Broncos, he stepped into Kyle Orton. And
to be fair, he ran the draft in 2009. That was his fucking fault.
He drafted Demaryius Thomas and Eric Decker. Was that the year before?
Look at his draft from 2008 or 2009. It's literally one of the worst drafts in history.
What's that?
When didn't he draft Tebow?
Tebow was drafted around what would have been 2009, right?
Well, yeah, him and Elway, but yeah, I'm sure he signed off on it.
Yeah,
I'll pull this up.
I'm just saying that he only had 2 years. I think his first year he did decent.
No.
Next
he
year
drafted
was atrocious,
in 2009. He drafted Noshawn Marino, Robert Ayers, Alfonso Smith, Daryl McBath, Richard Quinn, David Brennan, and Seth Olson, and a bunch of other no names.
What, you don't like Noshawn Marino?
I was like, no. Sean was like a goat for a year in fantasy. Come on, man.
Yeah,
he was good for a year. But by the way, you're right. Next year,
Miami.
Next year, he did draft Demaryius Thomas,
right.
Tebow, and
Eric Decker, right?
Yep.
Or was that? Yeah.
Big
Okay.
Dick Eric Decker.
So they
Boom, slanging it.
Hey,
Just
we were
slanging
all-
it.
they dropped him the year that Demarius Thomas and Eric Decker were drafted, and then could not build them whatsoever, and they are now looked at as great wide receivers. But I just don't think he had a fair chance in Denver. That's all I'm saying. A year and a half, year and 3/4, and average work with what he was given. So
I guess to the other side of it, why do you go that far into the process with a team like the Colts? I mean, you got to know what you're stepping into. I mean, regardless of Andrew Luck's health, the rest of that roster, like, what you're getting yourself into. So at the last second, unless something changed with New England, why else would he just be like, all right, peace out, I'm out. Bye.
Kraft offered him more money, and also, if you ask me, and I know nobody's really asked, I'm not a specialist, I don't know anybody on the Patriots, but my guess is they approached him. Kraft said basically, listen, we want you to stick around, we want you to be the head coach. We're going to give you a ton of money as the offensive coordinator. That's basically paying you as if you're a head coach. And this is Bill Belichick's last season. After this season, the team is yours.
All right, so we gotta put a bow on this.
I agree.
So all that to say this, Kai, there is several teams represented here in the pod today. The AFC South champion Jacksonville Jaguars have plenty of room on the bandwagon. Bobby's representing the New York Giants. Plenty of Josh Rosen love and Eli Manning, Wonder Boy, Super Bowl, Patriot killing in him. Like, yeah, if you really hate McDaniels, be a Giants fan because they've killed him twice in the Super Bowls. D-Bros rocking who dat all day, every day. I can't remember.
Come on over, man. We party in New Orleans.
Who are you with? Three? Who's your squad?
Minnesota.
Shout out to Jake as well. All these Minnesota. So you've got options. So
I've got options. My contract's expiring.
Yes.
Unrestricted free agency is coming. So I'm ready for that.
Big market.
I'm not ready for that.
Wait.
Oh my God!
The Raiders.
Yeah, could you pull up the picture of Gruden and him sharing the same haircut? That would even make it even better.
So fact of the matter is, basically what we're saying is, Kai, 2018, summer of 2018 is the summer of Kai.
It's true.
This is you get to make a choice. It's your choice. You are a free agent. Choose wisely. If you resign with the Colts,
going to be the decision 2.0.
Yeah.
Kai, all I will say is just remember who had the best commercial of the Super Bowl.
Morgan Freeman and
yes.
And
Morgan Freeman doing Missy Elliott
M&M's?
is GOAT.
Peter
Dinklage doing Busta Rhymes. Do you know how hard that is?
Those were great. That was great.
As someone who has done that out loud in front of people, that is very hard. That was very hard.
That commercial, that was it.
It was awesome.
So sorry, Bobby. Dirty Dancing gets no love on this pod.
Nope.
I know you put a bow right on top of it, JMic, and I appreciate
Nobody
that.
puts Bobby in a corner. Just saying.
Nobody. But I'm going to put a cherry on top of your bow, and that is that throughout mocks and throughout the sort of the pre-draft kind of season that we've been on, the Colts have been the most mocked or the most likely to end up with Barkley at number 3 overall. So for dynasty purposes, if he's still favored to go there, does that give you guys any kind of pause at the 101? Are you looking at if one of these wide receivers lands in a fantastic spot, if Geis lands in a fantastic spot, or does this change you if Barkley goes to the Colts and they get somebody like Dave Tube or somebody ends up being their head coach? Does that give you guys any pause whatsoever about drafting Barkley?
If Jeff Fisher is named the head coach, yeah, it would give me a little bit harder.
If Jeff named the head coach, there will be no contest. I will no longer be.
He's football player kryptonite. So look at Gurley. So yeah. If he lands there, I've heard some rumors. So
oh, man, I'll retire if he does that shit. I'm not even employed. Just kidding.
No, man, it's Barkley. If I have 101, I'm trading it. But if I have to take the pick, I'm taking Barkley.
That's fair.
Sweet.
That's fair.
Barkley's good.
Yeah, I would look at it kind of like a Todd Gurley situation. You take Barkley and hope that eventually they figure out their coaching situation.
Yep,
For sure.
All right, Kai, thanks for joining us, bro.
Yeah, I'll head out and let you guys do your thing. Thanks for letting me come on and get some therapy and just improve my overall spiritual self.
You don't drink yet, right, Kai?
I don't drink ever, so
Right.
So this
Well,
is the only way I know how.
So send me your DM me your address over Twitter, and I'll send you a very nice bottle of booze for your call.
I have friends that drink, so they will appreciate that. They will.
Take care, Kai.
Later, y'all.
oh
Man.
boy.
All right, so
We all right?
I think we all need a therapy session after
Anybody
that.
at
I mean, I'm
20?
feeling his emotional pain. I gotta shake it off a little bit.
I feel so heavy right now.
Oh.
Tell a fucking Gardner that.
real quick in the chat. Oh my gosh, dudes are on fire tonight. First of all, Tyler Gee said, I can't even say this with a straight face. He said the summer of Kai sounds like an anime porn.
I think it'd be called the
is cartoon. Is cartoon Stormy Daniels in that or not? I just saying.
Oh my gosh! And anyway, also one thing that we did not acknowledge is as a good Super Bowl commercial, the Tide ad showing up everywhere.
Yeah, they did that because they just wanted to make sure
GOAT.
people knew not to eat the pods. They wanted to remind people
that was
they're
the
from
GOAT
laundry.
advertisement.
Yeah, that was
100%.
That was
Tide is
Tide ad-
genius to
Yeah.
hijack other commercials. Hijack other commercials.
Yeah.
They only made like 3 or 4, but now everyone's they're looking at that fucking shirt in the Peter Dinklage commercial and be like, damn, he uses Tide. They were looking for Tide everywhere. So
Must
genius.
Eat
100%.
the pods.
So that was pretty dope as well. All right, so moving on. I think we have an award ceremony, and there's also something I want to get to with you guys after we get to that. Pending we have time, we'll see. But we've got the first annual Open Bar Awards. You guys ready for this?
And to be fair, JMic, like we talked about it briefly yesterday, but I told these guys about it 10 minutes before the show, and they came up with stuff 10 minutes before the show. So shout out to y'all. And I just pulled one out of my angle side, and so did you, JMic. So I mean, this is literally open par style to its fullest. So this is great.
So before we jump into these, giant shout out to @JasonTran on Twitter, co-host of the Gut Feels podcast. This is very much a hashtag 3 words show sheet that we're rocking right now.
100.
Additionally, this is, if you don't like these awards, don't add us. We enjoy it. Okay, don't add us. If you don't like the recipients or the winners of these, God bless you. May His mercy shine upon you. Don't add us.
You can add Bobby. He'll be nice to you. You can add Bobby.
Or at Kai. At Kai. Send your grief toward Kai because he's going through it. Okay, don't send it to us.
Bobby will give you a verbal hug. So
It's true. People tweet me all the time. I once said, if I missed your tweet me again. So clearly, I just want to be added all the
he
time.
is, man. He's like a cuddly little Care Bear.
I just want to be followed, man. I'm not even worried about it.
Hey, I'm not a Care Bear.
I just want to be
I'm
followed.
a little pony.
Little pony. My bad. Sorry.
All right.
Follow at Dynasty Butcher.
I'll pay you, I promise.
Crypto Kittens.
Crypto kittens.
You thought this was a cry for help. This is actually a Tide ad. Look at this shirt. It's the cleanest white tee you've ever seen.
Yes, sir.
All right, who's kicking us off? Who's first?
Gabe.
Yeah, sure.
It won't be me. I can't remember the categories.
You had one job, D, bro.
Yeah.
Hey, sorry, Kai got me all up in my feels. Just everything went out of my head. So
I know. Yeah, I'm so far gone. Okay. Yeah, I'll throw mine in here. So basically, what we're doing is we're relating it to a whether it's a cocktail or just a drink of choice, and that's kind of the category, metaphorically lining that up to a player that wins the award for the 2017 fantasy football season. So I was talking to JMic yesterday with the idea, and I said, for example, Bud Light. Bud Light is very cheap. We all know that. Probably hard to get down at times. But you know, if you drink enough of them, if you do enough, it's going to get the job done, or at least some of the time, hopefully. So that's kind of my idea as far as a player. Maybe cheap, kind of ADP was pretty cheap and kind of got the job done here and there. Had a good, decent season. My guy, none other than JMic McKinnon. The other JMic, my second.
JMic.
we're gonna rename this the Spark Awards. Spark Awards.
JMic McKinnon, respectable season. You know, up in those RB2 numbers, sharing touches with Dalvin Cook and Latavius Murray, and it was very hard to trust him for sure week to week, especially when or even when Cook went down. But was reliable in PPR at least. So his contract's up, yes. And
Yes.
He's been talking. He'd love to be in a good spot, maybe a starter. I still think he could do it. Dude's, you know, beefy enough and can handle the workload. IMO. What do y'all think? Do you think that if he lands in the or back in Minnesota, that he's still relevant, or just kind of another dude behind like a TJ Yeldon behind Fournette type of deal? Or if he moves to a place and gets a starting job, do you think he's relevant?
I don't think he stays with the Vikings. I think he goes somewhere else and tries to get money or a definite spot. If he stays with the Vikings, he's going to get swarmed out by Dalvin Cook. As Gabe would say, IMO. So
I mentioned this on Twitter. I think that I'd really like, even though I kind of want them to draft someone, I'd like to see him follow Shermer to the Giants and pair him with Gallman. One, because he'll know the scheme that's already happening, and two, because they really need a running back. And I really like McKinnon. I have for a bit. I think he deserves a chance to start, even though some people think he's a little undersized. So yeah, I'd be really interested to see what he could do with that opportunity.
I'm interested as a football fan, not much as a fantasy football fan, though. I like him. I mean, I'm a Vikings fan. I've been seeing him try to step up, and this year he got it done way more so than any other year. And, you know, to his credit, this year is probably the only time where he's been surrounded by a team that was competitive enough to support a non-Adrian Peterson running back as well. So it'd be cool to see him go somewhere and get paid. I don't think nobody's going to be kicking down the door to get JMic McKinnon in the NFL or in Dynasty Fantasy Football. I don't think. The people that like him probably already own him because he's been left for dead 2 or 3 times. People that like him probably already own him, so I don't see a lot of movement as far as trades and things go this offseason unless he lands somewhere where he's got, you know, a clear path. Like the Giants probably would be a good spot. I still wouldn't give up much for him myself, but that's a Vikings fan. I mean, we went through, you know, Matt Asiata and then McKinnon, and it was just like, man, if we don't have AP, we can't get it done. Like I said, this year was a little different, but
real quick, I think this was brought up on DHH's show. Shout out to that trio. They brought up an interesting thing. If JMic McKinnon landed in Tennessee to be in tandem with Derrick Henry, I think that's just interesting. I'm not going to lose my mind over it. I just think it would be pretty interesting if that was the case.
Better for Mariota than it is for McKinnon, I think.
No, I totally agree. Totally agree.
And I don't even know if it's really that good for McKinnon. I mean, last this year they didn't even use the running back in the passing game that much. So, I mean, Murray was used the year before that, but this last year they didn't even pass to the running back that much. I'm kind of curious, how old is McKinnon? Somebody needs to refresh my memory with this. 25, 26?
26, I want to say.
26.
So is he a cheaper, slightly younger version because the player in question would be 28, I want to say, going into next season? Is he a cheaper version of Deion Lewis? So could he end up with the Patriots?
Probably.
Oh my
Shit.
God, the Patriots love him.
I mean, he phenomenal athlete, can catch the ball out of the backfield. Doesn't he feel like it just feels like a Patriots type signing to me.
You mean a good smart football signing? Yeah.
Oh, there's the Patriots love.
All right.
Listen,
moving
I
on.
don't like
Yep.
the Patriots just as much as the next guy, but I acknowledge they make good moves.
Yeah. I mean, Deion Lewis is up. His contract up. He's a free agent. I don't think he's back there.
Probably not.
Yeah, we'll
Next
try
award.
to keep these short, J Mike. Since our sad rant from Kai, we're gonna keep these short. So
All right, Bobby. What's
let's
yours?
ride.
All right, so I don't remember the brand of vodka, but it
Oh
was
my
a
gosh.
$1 really
Oh, dear.
bad Polish vodka.
Heaven and heaven.
Basically, this category is something that you think is going to be glorious and then ends very, very poorly. And in that case, I'm going with Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cooks, I thought, was going to be glorious all year. And he was. He almost carried you to victory. And then week 16, he put up, I think it was 3.5 PPR points. So if you got to your championship with Brandon Cooks and then started him, like I did, you were disappointed and probably feeling really sick that night. So there you go. That's my pick.
Brandon Cooks.
Love that.
I
You
do
know,
like him a lot.
I'll say about Brandon Cooks and his outlook. I mean, he ended up fine as far as among other wide receivers. What, top 15-ish, depending on your league format. And I mean, yeah, sort of boom and bust, that type of player. But as we mentioned, Hogan might be gone. Gronk, I guess, might be gone. Doubt it. But just switched over and was a new Patriot. It's very difficult for wide receivers to be successful in that first year, switching teams. Going into the second year, much more successful. Think about Marvin Jones when he switched from the Bengals to the Lions last year, and he ended up as like a top 50 wide receiver. And then this year just blew up, ended up as a top 15 guy. And that's Marvin Jones. I mean, yeah, sure. He's great, athletic, good, decent receiver, but I like Brandon Cooks a bit more. I don't know. I'm looking forward to Brandon Cooks.
Oh, yeah, I still like Cooks long term. He just totally disappointed in the championship game, which was what the category was
100%.
about.
Do you think Cooks takes a step forward? I mean, for me, he just I think that's basically what he's going to be in that offense because Edelman's back next year, and if Gronk's back, I mean, do y'all see the ceiling being higher for him? I kind of feel like
Edelman's
that's where it's at.
older than Brady, right?
In wide receivers years, yes, he's actually I believe he's just got onto the cheat menu at IHOP. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm not as confident that Edelman's going to be back as you are. I could easily see because they're the Patriots and because they pull moves like Josh McDaniels pulled tonight. There's no like emotional attachment to anybody. Bill Belichick just goes, "Oh, you thought that you were someone I cared about? Nope, cutting you out. Cutting you too. Cutting you. I'm a robot. Don't care. Oh, your mom has cancer? Cool, you're cut."
Oh God. Oh.
Bobby the
Nobody in
Savage.
video.
No more My Little Pony for Bobby.
No
Good grief.
more
No.
Hi, Bobby.
No.
I've graduated to Metallica, My Little Pony.
All right, D bro. You're up.
All right, man. So mine has got to be the guilty pleasure. Basically something that you're sipping in the corner. You don't want anybody to know that you're either drinking on Long Island or that you are
Appletini.
Hey, Appletini, you could have a straw in a bottle of Boone's Farm like Gabe. I don't know. I mean, no judgment. But my player for that, and I'm going to go to absolutely sideways with this, has to be Greg Zuerlein. I love, and I'm not a kicker guy, but I mean, look, guilty pleasure. I love Greg Legg this year. That dude was awesome.
That's
And
amazing.
now
That is great.
off.
That's great.
That is
That's
so good.
horrible. And that's
It was my
great.
guilty pleasure. It was like listening to NSYNC and having an NSYNC t-shirt on, riding around town, and you don't want to put the windows down because you don't want anybody to hear what you're listening to while you're
And
bobbing your head.
This is an LFO podcast, so
Yeah, there you go. And it's so funny you say that though, because true to what you're saying, the man missed the last 2 games of the year after he got hurt, and he still finished as fantasy's #1 kicker.
Pouring some out for Greg the Leg right now.
Pour some out for the Legatron.
Like
That's a good one. That's a good one.
really,
I like that.
really good. Also, can say, sadly, have had an Appletini within the last month. Not proud of it. Not proud of that at all.
For you to be the cocktail connoisseur that you are, I'm a little.
Yeah.
As long as he didn't say pomegranate, we're good.
Wasn't-
We're good.
wasn't my
You're still
idea.
good in my book, Gabe.
Hey, you love your wife. I get it. It's okay. 3. What you got for us?
All right, man. I don't got a kicker. That was good though. Good way to keep it
So
short,
good.
you know. So mine
Everybody
is,
heard kicker. They're like, all right, moving on. We're
Yeah.
moving on.
so
We
I
have no
went-
outlook on kickers.
I chose a drink. I chose a drink first. Yeah, no. I chose a drink first, and then I tried to find a correlating player. So the drink I
That's the way to
chose
do it.
was the Fantasy Four Loco, and this is the Four Loco of fame before the FDA started regulating it or whatever happened when it was killing people. You know.
Before people went blind.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah. So my guy's Jared Goff.
Good one.
Like, you know,
Oh,
you cheap,
nice.
you can get them 2 for $4 to 7-Eleven, and he tastes terrible, and you're gonna feel like shit the next day. But you probably won your fantasy matchup, and you got him for cheap. So that's obviously more so for Superflex, because I still don't think he's that relevant in 1 quarterback leagues. But
And shout out, giant shout out to earlier in, I think it was preseason, Gabe. We had Jake on. I forgot who else we had on that day, but we were talking about Sammy Watkins. I'm sorry, Jake Anderson at NFL Draft Talker. Shout out. He was on.
Open bar, Jake.
And we open bar Jake, not to be confused with any other Jake. So he was on, and we were talking through the Rams, and we were asking, we were all kind of behind the Rams a little bit, saying, hey, this could be a year for them to actually be about something. And we thought, hey, why, with all these other instances where people where quarterbacks were crap or put up top 12, top 15 seasons, why couldn't Jared Goff do that in McVay's offense with the weapons that he had? We didn't know about Kupp yet. We didn't know Robert Woods would be what he'd be. This was just basically banking on the bounce back of Todd Gurley as well as Sammy Watkins' addition. So that's huge. Great call, because Jared Goff definitely was someone that snuck up on everybody. So yes, that's money.
yeah, I've had a
So
couple.
happy
of
to have held on to him in Dynasty.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah, you could. I mean, and you probably didn't even have a choice, Gabe, right? I mean, you couldn't have done anything with him.
People weren't even trying to buy him low.
Just leaving him for dead.
I flipped him in a 2 QB league, and I really regret it. I don't even remember what I sold him for, but I got peanuts in comparison to what his value is now.
Yeah, he's like easily might be actually maybe 1 QB leagues probably near that late first round pick range. I would think.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna close this out on the awards. Then I got one last thing, and we'll jump out of here. So, this is the Moonshine Award. Came up with the Moonshine Award, and so basically, this is obviously if you've never had moonshine, you only need a little bit to get you places that you may or may not want to go. So basically, a little bit goes a long way. And so that award, that distinction, and let me give out a couple of honorable mentions. Chris Thompson, before he got hurt, that dude was on a ridiculous pace to just obliterate fantasy seasons and take you to championships left and right. Kind of cooled off, then he got hurt. Also, another one, Tariq Cohen. Tariq Cohen, if he would have been able to sustain that as well and maybe even gotten a few more touches, he could have been the winner of this as well. But the winner of the first ever, what did I call this? Oh, yeah, the Moonshine Award.
Thank you.
Goes to Alvin Kamara, whatever.
Camera.
Your mama named me Camera. I'm gonna call you Camera. Right? So, and I was looking this up just right before the show. So Alvin Kamara had how many games do you guys think that Alvin Kamara had more than 20 touches? 20 or more, we'll say 20 or more touches.
2.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe 2.
I'm actually gonna go with 0.
I was gonna say it might be 0.
I'm looking at ESPN on this fantasy page, and I'm pretty sure that I'm looking at 0 games of 20 plus touches. 0. And the man ended as in full point PPR as the number 3 running back in fantasy.
Wow.
That's absurd. He finished right, of course, right behind Gurley, right behind Lev Bell, settled in, and won people lots and lots of titles. Obviously, if you didn't run into Todd Gurley, you may have run into Alvin Kamara. But yeah, Alvin Kamara definitely a little bit goes a long way. 20 touches or less, and in every game, and was winning league. So shout out to Alvin Kamara, first ever Moonshine Award recipient of the Open Bar. So that was fantastic, guys. I enjoyed that. What about you?
Not bad.
JMic, I actually thought you were going to go with Duke Johnson there for a second. I was on the edge of my seat.
He should also be in the honorable mention. But real quick,
guys on that list, dude.
Yeah. There's a lot of people who could have taken this home. Alvin, just for him to have less than 20 carries as a running back and still finish his fantasy's number 3 running back that's absurd. That's just absurd. So yeah, shout out to him. The one thing I want to get to real fast, guys, and this is kind of personal. So we are in my first fantasy league ever that I wasn't the commissioner of, that we just did this summer. I joined the Kamikaze. So we've talked about that several times on the show. Clint Followell, shout out to Clint. I think it's at DHH Pastor on Twitter now, or at DHH_Pastor, one of the two. Anyhow, he's the commissioner. John Bosch is the one who does a lot of the day-to-day stuff. And great group of guys. Shout out to that whole crew. Love those guys. It's a fun bunch. Wouldn't want to do a dynasty league without them. So it's a bankroll league, and I have Carson Wentz. I just finished the season 4th in the league, but the rest of my team was pretty trash, right? So I had like Cam Newton, Christian McCaffrey, and like just a bunch of crap. So what I've done this offseason is I've just been stripping it down to bare bones, selling what I can, try to be able to break it down so I can actually build it back up to a contender. So I have Carson Wentz, okay? And basically I threw on a party. It's called Wentzapalooza. And what I said was, hey, I'm giving you guys until 10:30 p.m. tonight to be able to send your best offers. And there will only be 3 offers that I leave open in my inbox at all times to basically have like a podium, if you will, almost like the Olympics. Shout out to P.U. Chang, bang, 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 pow. Whatever, Winter Olympics. So, so anyhow, so I actually have 4 in my inbox right now. I want you guys to let me know, of these offers, do you like any of them for Wentz? And again, basically, I'm just trying to strip my team down because it's a super flex league, 14 teams. If I can get some more pieces to be able to do some different things with, move forward, maybe come back in 2019, that would be great. So these are the offers. I won't tell you the teams. The guys in the league who are watching right now, they'll know who's coming from where. So first offer, David Johnson and Nelson Aguilar for Carson Wentz. And again, that would leave me with 0 quarterbacks, which I'm not loving. Okay, so that's the first one. Next one, Mitchell Trubisky, Corey Clement, and Tyreek Hill for Carson Wentz and Mike Williams, the great Mike Williams of Los Angeles Charger fame. Okay, you guys got those so far? So of those 2, which one are you feeling either of those?
The second one gets bitter beer face.
Yeah, David Johnson won. The David Johnson trade wins so far.
Okay, let's keep it moving.
You'll have no
next one.
quarterbacks, JMic? None?
No, I had Cam, but I sold him for a ton of cash. So I'm
Okay.
looking in the draft.
Yeah, right now I'm on door number 3 or door number 4. I'm not loving either of those offers.
Fantastic. Here's the next one. Tom Brady, Jerick McKinnon of what was the award he just won?
Bud Light.
The Bud Light Award. Bud Light Award.
Hashtag dilly dilly RB.
There you go.
Yes.
And Emmanuel Sanders. So Tom Brady, Jerick McKinnon, Emmanuel Sanders for Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
You're
Okay,
trying to
still not-
rebuild.
Right. I'm just throwing it out there. I just want to get your thoughts. Okay, last one here, and this might be the best of the bunch. Ben Roethlisberger, Tariq Cohen, Dalvin Cook for Carson Wentz, Mike Williams. Not enough.
So I gotta be honest, I don't love any of those. And even though you're trying to rebuild, I don't necessarily think that you don't acquire vets because you could flip them, but none of those are enough that I think it makes up the value for a young elite QB in Superflex. So David Johnson offer, I guess, comes closest.
That's the best one for me.
But honestly, I think you sold yourself short by saying you're taking the best one.
No. I never said I was taking the best one. I told them I reserve the right to not take any offer if I didn't feel like my baseline needs weren't met.
Yeah, so all those guys, I'm sure one of those offers is from like Jake, another one's from John. They'll all be pissed at me, but I'm telling you, hold out.
I wasn't gonna out him, but I was thinking the same thing.
I
Well,
think
Jake's not in this league, but
in the position you're talking about, if you're in a rebuild, that's a piece that's immovable, honestly, unless you're getting like Wentz for Cam Newton plus. You know what I mean? Something
Yeah,
like
I
that.
kind of feel
so-
like you got to get a young quarterback back in return.
so that's
Yeah,
what I was
you
asking.
got to
Well,
go back.
what if you get someone like Kirk Cousins and
That's fine.
Tyreek
Yeah.
Hill? What does Kirk Cousins and Tyreek Hill look like?
That's
I'd do
fine.
it.
Yeah, I would do that. I mean,
Is that
Yep. Like that.
Cousins is a
Cousins
young man in quarterback years.
Yeah.
The thing is, when you're rebuilding, so like I've seen people be like, yo, I'm rebuilding. I want to sell off Odell. And I'm like, no, that's the piece you rebuild around. So you don't necessarily have to strip everything down when you're rebuilding because sometimes it makes sense to hold on to a guy. And in a 2-quarterback league, Carson Wentz makes sense. But yeah, if somebody approached you and went, I'll give you Kirk Cousins and Tyreek Hill, that's good enough value that you go, yeah, all right.
because because I keep looking at it, and I keep thinking I don't believe Carson Wentz's value will ever be higher
That's what I was
than
just
it is right now.
Yeah, I could see that.
I disagree because he's
People-
currently injured,
People,
right?
people on your site, Bobby, are saying that he's the #1 quarterback in fantasy, i.e. Ryan McDowell.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Not everybody reads those rankings. I know a lot of people do, but I'm being totally serious right now where his value, I'm guessing, is depressed because he's hurt, right?
I'm not laughing at you, Bobby. I'm just laughing at
no,
Matt.
it's fine. So somebody's going to say like, oh yeah, like I'm offering you this price, but he might never come back to the player he was because of the ACL. What you want to do is have Carson Wentz come back, show that it wasn't just because of Nick Foles coming and playing in a system, but Carson Wentz is actually like an MVP caliber quarterback, win like 2 Super Bowls or some shit, and then you can sell him.
I mean, but I think anybody trying to discredit Carson Wentz is trying to give you the used car salesman ad. I mean, I think that's absolutely trying to knock his value down. I almost kind of feel like you keep Carson Wentz and trade somebody else for a pick and try to pick up any of the young quarterback in a super flex, but and keep Carson Wentz. I do understand that his value might not be higher, but especially in a super flex, if you're selling Carson Wentz, I would be trying to get a younger or a young-ish quarterback. I think Kirk Cousins is a good target. I also think Matt Stafford is another really good undervalued target.
Shout out to the Degenerates dynasty. Chris,
I'm not going to lie. I
see you working, bro.
Shameless plug here, okay? Hey, look, you just mentioned Carson Wentz and CMC, which I know you got a lot of love for those players, okay? So, look, I'm just trying to follow suit here, JMic, okay?
I was somewhat
For anybody that
tentative.
does not know, I own both of those quarterbacks in a super flex league. Me and JMic are both in. So, you know.
Go ahead, Bobby. Make your point.
I was just going to say, I was somewhat tempted when you mentioned Trube and Tyreek. I actually really like Trube with Nagy now coaching there. And I think that the Bears are doing all the right things to actually make him a good, useful piece. But when you included Mike Williams, that destroyed the value for me. I'm not saying I'd do it straight up, but like Trube and Tyreek straight up for Wentz is somewhat close, at least in my opinion.
Let me ask you this. You like Trubisky and Tyreek more than you like Kirk Cousins and Tyreek?
No.
Okay. I was curious. I was like, whoa. Okay.
No. You'd have to add a little piece to that to make it there, but it was somewhat intriguing when you brought it up.
Corey Clement.
Yeah, no, it doesn't do it for me.
Not enough. Okay.
No.
All right.
Stop with Corey Clement.
No, I was asking. I don't even know much about Corey Clement, but I feel like people have hyped him up, especially after what he did in the Super Bowl. Anyhow.
Just sell him then.
All right.
I would
Good stuff.
I would target like Jameis Winston or Derek Carr for different reasons. Like Jameis Winston, he had a down year. I think he still is a quarterback with longevity in the league. Derek Carr wears eye makeup, so you can't go wrong with that.
Go after Mariota too. He just had a
damn it, Bobby, you got me. Yeah, I was about to say go after Mariota in a piece.
Yeah, Mariota had more interceptions this year than touchdowns. Use that.
Yeah, I think Mariota, you could get a very nice piece with Mariota back, depending on if you need running back or wide receiver help.
But the other thing you said that I just wanted to touch on real quick, I'd kick myself if I didn't, is you said that his value may never be higher, but that's thinking about his value in the market. It's not thinking about his value to your team. As a rebuilding team, yeah, his value to other teams may never be higher, but as a rebuilding team, his value to you will only increase as you start to get into a competitive frame again.
Yeah, that's a fair point, especially in Superflex.
Fair.
I mean, with his youth on that side, I mean, you know, it's hard, especially in Superflex. I mean, he could be a foundational guy that, you know, you push other quarterbacks around.
All right.
So I think we're all in agreement. Don't accept any of those offers.
But you guys were good if I got Tyreek and Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
I just think you need a middle of the range QB plus a little juice to be able to
justify that. Yeah.
For your specific team, I think that is definitely the best case for you.
Sweet.
Or a boatload of cash. I know how those leagues work.
Boatload of cash.
A boatload of cash. I sold Cam for a boatload, literally a tugboat of cash.
Yeah. No, it was a yacht.
That's all I got, boys. Good stuff.
All right. I think we're good.
Yeah, we're way over. But this was fantastic. This was a great episode. Well, we don't really have time constraints, do we?
No. I was supposed to say,
I just wait till those viewers hit 0 and usually doesn't take that long. But.
Shout out to everyone who's still with us. See you, Shumway, Peebles, Tyler Gee, everybody else who popped through, Jake, Stepney.
Yes.
Yeah. Three was in there too, of course.
You are the glue.
And others. You are the glue. What'd you say? We don't have a show without you.
Yeah. That's grab bag shit.
That's your
I can't believe this guy started saying that. I was like,
started serving you.
Like,
we know you don't have a show without us.
All right. Let's say our goodbyes. Bobby, would you like to say a word?
Sure.
Just one word, Bobby. One word.
Bye.
Just kidding.
My little Bobby.
I was just to say, I thought he was going to go with Pony.
Yeah, you can find me on Dynasty League Football. If I get back into writing, I put out an article recently about why I would take Cooper Kupp over the 106. I know that's a pretty hot take to end on there, so you can at me at Rekt Fantasy. That's REKED Fantasy.
Hold on, I'm
Bobby,
looking up.
verbal
I'm looking up. My Little Pony. Is that available on Twitter? I bet it's not.
No way. No way.
Not available, right?
At Bobby Pony? No? Is that taken too?
I don't see. I mean, I don't see it like at the top. Oh, there it is. Yeah, it's the actual My Little Pony.
Or is it?
They don't
I
even have a
mean,
check mark.
it's a little bit long, so maybe Pony Bob. How about that?
Pony Bob.
It just sounds like a guy.
We're talking about this like it's actually going to happen.
That sounds like Gabe changed his name to Bob, and then just because of his ponytail, changed his username too.
All right, yeah. Check out Bobby's stuff, DLF, and on My Little Pony, the website. D bro, what you got to say, my man?
Oh man, I'm on Twitter far too much. That's probably healthy for a normal individual, but you know, whiskey fuels my veins and gives me youth. So I'm on there all the time. So hit me up at dbro_FFB. If you want to listen to my absolute craziness, our podcast is restarting soon. I'll be hosting the redraft side, and actually just started. I'm going to be writing some Dynasty content for people over at Roto Underworld. So prayerprofiler.com. So check me out.
I was just about to say, what are you going to be doing with all of your time now that you can't Periscope 24/7? But now it sounds like you've got some things now.
Well, I got a third kid on the way, so that's going to take up a lot of my free time. Yeah. But I won't sleep for a few months, so I'll still be on Twitter all night, every night at 3 a.m. If you get a tweet from me, you know what's up. So,
congratulations!
Congrats, man.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. I'm a month out, so I'm trying to stock up on the sleep right now.
Ooh, yeah, man.
Yeah, it's crunch time. It's red zone time right now.
It's real.
Yeah,
it's so real.
March is a good month.
You know what? I'm down with that. I hear that that's a good month. I don't think I can convince my wife to wait till April, but I've tried.
Is it end of March?
March 7th, actually.
Oh, okay.
So we're tomorrow. I'm legit a month out.
All right.
Congrats.
Tens on time.
Go at D-Bro and say congratulations, or you're not a very good person. Matt,
give me a nice verbal hug.
Yeah, guys, thanks for having me on. It was a good time. Catch me in my new movie out summer 2018, The Summer of Kai.
Are you an extra? Are you a bit part in the back?
No, I'm Kai.
Oh, he's playing Kai.
So catch me on my new
Dodgers,
movie.
That must be a Colts beanie you got on there.
No, this is the LA Dodgers beanie.
Oh
actually.
man, I do not want to see that Cobra.
Oh gosh, that trailer's gonna be fire.
Oh, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. Oh gosh.
The Dynasty Butcher as Kai Squared this summer 2018. Get in where you fit in. Oh god!
Stop it! Oh my god!
Oh my god! I didn't think you were gonna be able to finish that.
No, but for real, three. Thank you for being on. Yeah, we were passing ships several times toward the end of 2017. One weekend he was busy. One week me and Gabe didn't communicate very well, and I was like, "Yeah, you can be on." And Gabe was like, "Yeah, we've got 5." I was like, "Oh crap!" So yeah, we've passing ships. It's always good to have you back on. And did you actually end up winning the LFO league?
No, I got second place, but that was after our team, like right before the trade deadline, to lucky.
JMic about to get feisty.
We got robot Matt coming through.
Robot Kai is on the prowl.
Good stuff.
Yeah, shout out to Stephanie getting the third spot, and yeah, let's mention this. Van Burf won first place there, and that. So we're talking about the LFO league. We've had the LFO guys on before, Brad and Devin, and they're going to jump in on the league with us. Brad actually did. Devin was unable to. Van Burf took over the team and he won, and we're working on doing something with those winnings. So shout out to Burf for coming forward and doing that with the winnings. And real quick, not to end on a note like this, but I just feel like we need to say it. I was just getting news of this today, and I had no idea. I didn't even see it on Twitter, and I don't know if you did, JMic, throughout the past 6 months or so, but Devin from LFO came down with cancer just before the season started, and that's kind of why he wasn't able to do it. Interrupted some things with their tour and whatnot, but he's going through chemo right now. So just well wishes to him and his family, all the LFO family. They're all tight there. Yeah, just keep summer girls on your mind, because they're good dudes. Those LFO dudes are good, and keep them in your heart. So, JMic, anything to say from your end?
Another fantastic edition of the Open Bar. For those that may not know, with the off season being upon us, we are, Gabe and I did some brief talking about this. The chances are pretty high that you're going to be getting a show from us once. Do we decide every month, Gabe? Is that what we said?
Sure.
Something like that.
We'll just kind of go whenever we feel like it. We got combine coming up in less than a month, so we can talk about stuff like that. We'll decide whenever the hell we want. When we want to go to the bar.
we are what did it say? We are the captains of this ship.
That's right.
We're the masters of our fate. We are Kai in the summer of Kai.
Oh boy.
Wait a second. On Twitter at JMicCheck.
Hashtag Kai Kayak. No.
Oh Lord. Ooh. On Twitter at JMicCheck, at JMIC Check. The show's handle on Twitter at the Open Bar FP, as in fake pigskin. And thank you guys for a fantastic first season. Golly, Gabe, it's through the season, man. We're here. It's the end. Dude. But not really the end, but the end of the season. It's weird.
Yeah. I don't even feel like saying like this is no season finale by any means. We're just it's carrying over. There's just less content to talk about, and we'll definitely be talking about it when we can. But
truth be told, we're hitting our stride.
Yeah, we're hitting the ground running.
Love it.
I'm at Grab Bag Fantasy. You can find us here every Tuesday. Not in season, but in off season we decide. So you just peep game when it's like Tuesday at like 8 p.m. and you're like, I wonder if Open Bar's on tonight. Just check my tweets. Because it might just be on, and we might just be coming up with an award show, or we might just be needing a fifth guest, and I might just need you. So keep your ears peeled and your eyes wide open. But it's been fun. It's been this was an awesome show. So much fun. Excited to put it out as a pod. We do have that. Remember, we usually put it out next day. We'll have it out tomorrow for you. Check it out on iTunes. Ratings, reviews. If you want to do that, feel free. It's all gravy. People, put your cups up. I got 2 this time. I got lit. Cheers.
Dilly.
Cheers. Twice over. Good week. We'll see you again soon. Deuces.